He took an oath to defend the Constitution of the United States of America. By some, he's been called controversial.
I'll keep my freedom, I'll keep my guns, try to keep my money and my religion too. Now, keep in mind that some of my guests have been approached by Homeland Security or FBI saying, why are you going on the Clay Douglas show?
My message to those guys that are listening this morning is go get a cup of coffee, maybe you'll learn something.
We both took the same oath, to defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. I don't recall there being an expiration date on that. I'm going to keep my big VA, keep my friends the same. Keep the government out of my business and y'all can keep the change.
He is the free American, Clay Douglas.
You know what we need. We know who to blame.
Catch the Free American Hour, weekdays at 7 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Eastern.
I'll keep the USA and y'all can keep the change.
For the podcast and more details, visit www.freeamerican.com or catch the podcast by phone by calling 832-999-8621.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another day in Texas. The sun is risen, the sun is set, and here I am in Texas yet. All right. Skip Baker is my guest today. Hello, Skip. How are you?
Hey, Clay. How's it going?
Well, pretty good, sir. Pretty good. Nice to be back in my home state of Texas, and I'm really excited doing what I'm doing. I'm working with the Tiny Texas Houses to help them promote it and get the information out. It's taking a step back. It's really a whole concept of living called salvage. And
Salvage?
Salvage.
Did you say salvage? Oh,
salvage. Yes, sir. What how Tiny Texas Houses got started, how they got built, is Brad Cattell has collected and salvaged buildings. We're talking about old barns, old houses, that 50, 60 years old, 100 years old. And he goes in, because he says the wood and the materials they made these houses out of then are better than anything that they got today. Matter of fact, I was just talking with Dr. Jake Wade, and he went to the lumber and he bought a few 2x6s and had to do something with them really quick because they were going to warp in the sun. The old wood is hardened. The old wood stays. The old wood doesn't rot like that. So, and these houses are being built like that, and it's really a opportunity for people to form their own salvage companies to start building these houses all over the country. And he ships them all over the country too.
And it's all old wood, huh?
Yeah, old wood, old brick, old tile. I mean, he has several thousand square feet of material, doors, windows, largest collection of doorknobs in the country.
Amazing.
People drive 100 miles to get doorknobs to make canes out of, things like that. But
so he builds houses out of these old houses, or what?
Yes, Tiny Texas Houses. They've got their own website there, and
Tiny? How tiny? You mean like 10 by 14 or what?
Yeah, 10 by 14, 10 by 20, 10 by 10 by 40. I mean, he can build them. He's got a pretty bad a pattern set down. They've got porches. You know, they got back porches. I mean, he even builds a. We're working on a houseboat out here.
Oh, how big?
It's
So this is about the size of a jail cell that somebody's...
Oh no, man! It's actually comfortable. It's more like the size of a fifth wheel or a motorhome.
Oh,
And they put them on a truck and they can truck them in, take them anywhere.
how big? Amazing.
But because I'm in the public now, you know, and I kind of want to talk to you about this, Skip. This I'm looking for. In a way, this is one of the last of the old Free American style shows. Today is the last. You might say I kind of got religion, except not religion, not religion, because I feel, and you know, this is again, this is why I was been looking forward to this. You know, I think I got suckered. I think I got drugged. I think I got programmed, and I think I fell for it. I think I fell for it over the last 8 years.
Fell for what?
I fell into the whole plan of the elite. Divide and conquer. They want us fighting with each other. They want us hating the Muslims. They want us being afraid of the Jews. They want us to be afraid of our neighbors. Oh, you know, he's a militia.
Well, that's what the Jews always stir up, is hatred between two people, and that's their job, because they're demon seeds from the devil, so they're just doing their job, and they are the elite. So people need to stop calling them the elite and just start calling them the Jews.
Well, then you get with this racist bullshit, and I think it's bullshit. I think it's bullshit. You know, I really do. I mean, I'm right here, and I've been called racist because I wanted the government to do the job and protect the borders.
Well, it's the Jews that are running that. That's just the normal thing. You know, they want all those Mexicans to come here and destroy America as best they can, because they're the relatives of the Jews.
You know, there are other factors in here too. I mean, the Masons here, not all the Masons are Jews, and I just had on a Christian Zionist yesterday, and I mean, he was a nice guy, and he's got his own theories, and you know, but he believes you know, the Jews are the chosen ones. I don't believe anybody's chosen. I don't believe anybody's chosen above or over me or you, or even you know, the good black father over there is taking care of his kids and raising his kids and teaching them how to be responsible, not to steal and not to lie.
Well, how can a black father do that? I mean, that's what they do. That's why you go down to a ghetto and you see the whole place destroyed.
Yeah, a lot of that is your government, Skip. This isn't the fault of, you know. I mean, I've had really good black friends that were really successful businessmen. You know, this ain't about race. And you know, I intend to stress that from now on, because I'm right here in Texas now, and there's crews out here working every day out there in the heat. A lot of them are Mexican, and I haven't gone up and asked if they're legal or illegal, because they are doing the work. And they are doing the work, and they are not stealing. They're working. They're showing up every day. And my friend hired a couple of white boys and gave them a job, gave them some, and even gave them some bonuses. And they didn't show up on Monday. They worked on Saturday and Sunday, got way too much money, and then didn't even show up. Now, you know, and my friends are bringing up, you know, the white boys. You know, this is why I'm forgetting the race. I want to judge people by what they do, not what their color is, not who their grandmother screwed. You know,
Well, you've got to remember that when Christ gets here, he's going to separate the sheep from the goats. And he's going to go by that word that he put in the Constitution that says posterity, because America was founded for the posterity of the Israelites of Europe. So he's going to separate the sheep from the goats, and those who are not of the posterity of the founding fathers will be moved to their own nations, just like the Bible says, and sent back to wherever they came from. But of course, until that happens, we've got to put up with all kind of crime and rape and murder and everything that these people do. So there's no way to change that until Christ arrives and separates the sheep from the goats.
Do the Christian Zionists believe that Jesus is coming back? What about these Christian Zionists? Now, you know, when somebody says, what's your take on that, Christian Zionists? I mean, I just had a guest on yesterday, or day before yesterday. There was a Christian Zionist, and I have to tell you, man, I am not real impressed with Christianity. I'm damn not certain not impressed with Muslims either. But the Muslims built a hell of a empire, a hell of a system. I mean, they were responsible for giving us mathematics and a lot of other things. And,
well,
and now somebody's saying here, Ask the Dark, saying Christian Zionists follow the Schofield Bible, and I understand the Schofield Bible, and I think it's bull. I think that's the biggest propaganda. But you know, I've been ripped. I've made a lot of money with Jews, Skip. And I've been ripped off a lot by Christians coming into my house and going, oh, well, I'm a Christian. Oh, God bless you for doing this, as they're filling their pockets with my, goods.
Well, they'll be separated with the goats when Christ arrives anyway, so you don't need to worry about them. But Christian Zionism really should be renamed Christian Satanism, because they take up for those Satanists who live in the terrorist state of fake Israel, pretending to be us, and they're actually Canaanites that were defeated in 125 BCE and joined the Judahites so that they looked like Judeans by the time of Christ. But as they admitted to Jesus in John 8:33, they were never slaves in Egypt. So the Jews aren't the Hebrews of the Old Testament at all. And yet you don't hear any of these Christian Zionists telling you that text and realizing that these people are a total fraud, and that they've snowed these Christian Zionists to the point they think they are the chosen people, when the chosen people are the Anglo-Saxons of Europe and their kindred, not the Jews, who are Edomite Canaanites. So one day all those Baptists will wake up and find out they've been supporting the devil and his children, and it's going to be curtains for those guys at that point. So it's just amazing to see these guys supporting the devil and his operation and calling themselves Christians when they don't know the first thing about the Bible and don't know who the Jews are.
As was pointed out to me in the conversation, you know, we didn't necessarily start out white. I mean, we came up from Africa. They say that's where the human race started. I don't know that for sure. But I'm not even sure it makes that much difference today, right now. I mean, if we had something we could follow that wasn't warlike, I mean, how many of these Christians out there, so-called Christians, the Hagee followers and all that, you know, are the Sarah Palins out there that that want to go?
Just another Jew. She's Jewish. She's not Christian. And John Hagee is a Jew. His mother was a Jewess. He's pretending to be a Christian, and yet 100 million Christians listen to his Jewish lies every Sunday. So naturally they're going to be swept away, just like St. Paul said in 2 Thessalonians 2, that they're going to believe all these Jewish lies, and they're going to be condemned for it. They're going to be lost for it. So you've got all these people wanting to bomb Iran for the Jews, and yet the Jews are the ones that have all the nuclear weapons. Iran hasn't threatened anybody in 500 years. So one day all these people will wake up, and when that happens, you'll see the terrorist state of fake Israel blown off the face of the earth in a single day, just like Revelation 18 says it will happen, and then the whole world is going to rejoice when we're rid of these Canaanites.
Well, you know, they may do it themselves. I mean, they set up the plan. They set up the concept. Oh, 6 million of us died, and I think they're ready. I think they're ready to actually do it, not just lie about it. I think they're ready to kill off 6 million Jews, so we'll feel sorry for the elitists that are left. And that might be interesting, because what would happen if they're at Dimona or at one of Israel's nuclear power plants? Israel has them. They don't want Iran to have it, but Israel's got them.
Yeah.
What if one of those plants and one of the bombs in one of their arsenals actually went off?
Yeah, well, that'd be great to see that whole place go up in smoke, wouldn't it? But that still wouldn't solve the problem. That's why the angels are going to gather up the tares, which is the Jews, and put them in the lake of fire along with John Hagee and all the Christian Zionists when Christ gets back, and we can bring our marshmallow sticks and roast marshmallows.
Well,
so
haven't we been waiting on that for about 2,000 years? I mean, you know, I don't. Now there is something that's happening on a cosmic scale, and I think, matter of fact, I put it up on the website, because this may be what the Bible has predicted. It may be what's happening here, and it's up on my website right now. You can go there and see a picture of our sun and our moon and the earth, and it'll show you where we're headed. Where we're headed. The Milky Way's dark rift. Now, this is my award-winning astrophysicist, Alexia Demetria, who says our solar system is entering in an interstellar energy cloud that will soon bring global catastrophe. They say that the news that even has the full attention of the National Academy of Sciences, along with the NSA and other world scientists, are quite concerned, as they are not sure just what to expect. If they do, they're not talking. Simply said, the Earth will soon start to cross through the absolute center of the dark rift of the Milky Way around, maybe this is just an accident, 12/21/12. The rift is dark because it is littered with lots of space debris that consist of stationary rocks and boulders, even asteroids, and some objects which are planet-sized. The dark rift is a galactic gravitational plane of the Milky Way which traps all the space debris. As the Earth passes through this plane, we may very well see a meteorite storm producing thousands of rocks come raining out of the sky, with hundreds, possibly thousands of meteorites making it all the way to the ground. We will just have to see what happens. Keep in mind that countries around the world have long since built deep underground survival bunkers for 2012, and I've got the photo there of us entering that. There's links to the site too.
When is that supposed to start?
12/21/12.
12/20. So they say we're going to enter this thing at the same time the Mayan calendar ends. Is that what they're saying?
Yes, sir. And the speculators like me, like Brad could tell, believe that this has happened before, thousands of years ago, before the Bible, and that's what the accounts of this passage, are still in the Bible.
Well, the Bible only goes back 7,400 years when the Adamites, the white race, were begotten by God here on earth in the Garden of Eden, and there were people, civilizations here hundreds of thousands of years before us in China and other places, but the Adamites were simply created about 7,400 years ago, and that's what the Bible's about. It's about the Adamites, the white race, who founded the many nations of Europe for Abraham, and left Israel in 745 BC, and then founded America in 1776, 7 times later, which is 2,520 years. So I think we're going to see the end of the whole story. Like you say, maybe it will start in December 21st of this year, and there'll be a conflagration or some kind of lake of fire that will happen after that. But who knows? It could be a really grand finale if all that is supposed to be scheduled for December 21st this year.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah, that would be really fascinating. But you never know. Maybe they'll make it into next year, exactly 100 years away from when the Rothschilds founded the Federal Reserve Bank, and it's been ripping us off for a century now. Maybe that's when the end will come in 2013, when the Rothschild banks finally collapse.
What somebody's asking on the chat room, what was the drought and famine supposed to come first? Or somebody asked about the time of tribulation coming before this November. What about the 1,000 years of peace?
Well, look at how bad the drought was this year. I can look out over 40 acres of corn here that's just absolute loss. It's just amazing how bad this drought, this punishment from Yahweh has been because of our sins of letting all this corruption come in, and all the stuff that has gone on the last half century or so that we've allowed to happen. It's just been amazing to see the difference between the 1950s and today, because we had morality and we had the prosperity of the founding fathers that were running everything, and then the Jews brought in all these Negroes from Africa as slaves 400 years ago, just purposely to cause all this trouble. And of course it's reaching a maximum, and that's why Christ has to return soon, because he's the only one that can straighten out this mess. So I imagine we're getting very close to the second coming now. And hopefully that'll come pretty soon. You can't go on like this much longer without a total economic collapse worldwide with the situation the way it is now. It's going to get really bad in the future.
All right.
So that's go ahead.
You had a couple of things out. I just wanted to talk about here. Let me see if I can find it. I saw something here from you how they use power, how the Zionists or Jews use the power. You know, Zionists are the people that are behind, the movers and shakers behind this, and I believe they hide behind the common Jewish people. I mean, I don't believe this little lady next door to me that maybe her grandmother was Jewish or maybe her mother was Jewish. I don't believe she's part of the problem, of the bad guys. I don't believe that.
Well, all Jews support the Zionists. That's just part of their religion. But you got to remember that that's the other seed line, and they're always going to lie about everything and do whatever their father, the devil, wants them to do, because Jesus told us in John 8:44 that they are of their father, the devil, and they'll do their murdering and lying right up to the end, just like he said they would. And,
well, let's talk about this. Let's talk about this right now. This is a prime thing, because what we're discussing here, folks, is that they want to try to use the term racism to keep you from discussing any of the power points, the power plays that they're doing. But let's talk about the Olympics here. You said in 1936 we had a moral Olympic opening, but 2012 is a sick perversion, and this is almost the Olympics logo spells out Zion, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, they they set that whole thing up. It's just amazing the difference between what you saw on TV here at the recent Olympics compared to what they had in Berlin in 1936. It was a very clean, very nice program, and then we had all the symbolism of the satanic Jews who are running everything today and all the governments, and just like the Bible says, that all these kingdoms would give their kingdom to the beast until the words of God were fulfilled. And that's what's going to happen. He's just given them enough rope to hang themselves, and then he's going to come in and clean the whole thing up. And the people who are stupid enough to support Jews, they're going right in the lake of fire with them, because if they knew anything about their Bible, they would know that the Jews are the enemies of Jesus Christ and his Father. So
now folks,
God isn't their Father.
let me stress something here. I said, and I will put a link up to the show. I had on a Christian Zionist yesterday, and at the end of the show, I told him I don't agree with you. You know, I don't believe personally, I don't believe Jews are any more chosen than Miriam. I don't believe that.
Well, that's
and you could be right. You could be right. We could. You know, one of my ancestors could have walked across the Caucasus Mountains, and he might have walked right beside a Jew. He might have walked right beside a Jew, and maybe we both became called Caucasians. I don't know. I don't know who my grandmother slept with, and I really don't care. It's not somewhere I want to go. What I want to do, Skip, what I want to do is make it so that we are respected as individuals, not by race, not by religion. Now, I get this crap from my Christians all the time, and I'll tell you right now, it makes me fight mad. Well, if you don't believe the way I believe, you're gonna go to hell. You know what? Kiss my ass. You know, it ain't gonna, that ain't the way it is. That ain't the way it's gonna be. That ain't what I've been talking about for 40 years. Actually, I'm going back. I'm doing a lot more. I'm going back and rewriting the book.
You got to remember that God is a racist, because he said that any manser or half-breed cannot enter the congregation of Yahweh for 10 generations until it's cleansed, because he didn't want the Israelites race mixing with these children of the fallen angels. So the worst thing you could do was commit adultery, which was to adulterate the race. The sixth commandment said, "Thou shalt not adulterate the race." That meant have sex with somebody that wasn't an Israelite and produce a half-breed child. So Yahweh only wants thoroughbred Israelites to be his children, and anybody that has children by a non-Israelite, a non-white person, there's no way to save that child in the kingdom of God, because the holy seed has been corrupted. And that's why Yahweh demanded that they not race mix, and that's why he made Phineas a priest forever, because when an Israelite man was having sex in a tent with a non-Israelite woman, Phineas grabbed a javelin and went in there and ran them both through together and killed them both. And so God made him a priest forever, because he stayed the plague that was in Israel, that was probably some kind of venereal disease that was going on at the time. But it's just amazing how